What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another stream here at HID, holding it down on the YouTube channel. Coming back with another episode of Farm Sim 22. The last that we talked, we were trying to get some cotton planted, which we have gotten finished. If you're looking up here on our big fields that we put together, you can see the little squares that we did last time are still in there. They'll have to be plowed over. The edges have to be plowed over. For whatever reason, it didn't get planted all the way to the edge. Not the end of the world, but we'll worry about that next time after we get the first done. We've got our two fields of hay that are growing, our grass that'll be to fill up our hay barn here. But then we got the cotton. That's what that episode was. The first episode streaming here for Farm Sim 22, and this one we are going to focus in on grapes, which we somewhat talked about last week, and this week we will focus in even heavier on that, because that's what we're going to do this week, is actually doing stuff with the grapes. We're going to go in and harvest them. It is time to harvest them, and then we just have to make a decision. Do we want to just sell the grapes as they are, or do we want to go down and maybe buy I don't know if you need to buy like the supermarket. I don't know. Maybe we look and see what's the game plan from here. Do we buy a place, a plant, something, and try doing it that way? Maybe that's, I don't know. To be honest with you, I haven't looked into that, as far as like, let's see if we're selling. Let's get to our grapes here. Since we're on it. Honey, the only place I can go is the supermarket. I'm a grape juice goes to the supermarket. I wonder if grapes are only going to go to the supermarket too. Why are grapes not even on here? Or did I go right past them? I mean, I said grape juice. There we go. Sorry. All right. Felsburn. Let's see if I can see where that is. That might have been a little bit loud. Let's turn that down a little bit, shall we? All right, Felsburn. I hope that's not where, that's that. You're going to have to give me a minute to see if I can find it here. Huh. I'm not sure where, it is. Oh, it's right there. Oh, man, but I got to send it off. So, I'd say correct me if I'm wrong, but you really can't. So for that, I have to rent a train to send it off. Right? That's where this should go to. The problem is, first of all, I don't want to rent a train. That's the most frustrating thing in the world. And I could probably turn that off, I'm sure. But I can't buy that to then be, I can't buy that place to then turn it into grape juice to sell to the supermarket. It sells for a little bit more if I sell it to them. Oh, that sells for a heap load more though. Almost twice as much. Or actually it is twice as much if I just sold it straight to the supermarket. Let's see. Let's look at this. Because there's also this. A grape processing plant. I could get one of those. And that makes grape juice. I kind of like that idea. So let's just see. Where could we put... See, I don't know that I want it necessarily like right here. Or do I? Would that be nice to just have our own processing plant right here at the actual warehouse? See, I also kind of want to leave room here for like in the future having some of this also. But I wouldn't mind having it like close by. Let me look for a second. Like if I was to put it somewhere else. So this is obviously my land where I have the deal. I want to eventually probably continue to expand this across this, depending on how it goes. I know it's nice to have something like that and it's like close to roadways, you know, for trucks and such. But I also kind of like the thought of having it like right here so I don't have to carry it far from the plant. Or from like literally the plant itself, coming from plant to plant. So let me think about this for a second. Let me think about this. I kind of like the idea of it being here, honestly. I think we're going to put it here. I need to know where's the best place to put it up against. What is it overlapping? There's nothing here. There's literally nothing here. Other than maybe it's not perfectly flat land. Is that what it's griping about? Probably. I don't want to put it like way out here though, in the middle of all this. Again, this is where I want to expand to eventually. See, now that looks like it's underground. Why are we having an issue here? Okay, this is better. Dang. Let's go take a look. Let's go take a look. Take a look at the new plant here. And then we'll get started on actually dealing with our plants and everything. Or actually dealing with our grapes. It's time to mow this. There goes my dog, which my son does not call by his name. He calls the dog Farmer John, which is hilarious to me. All right, well, that we need to fix because that is a serious drop down. Okay. So here we got obviously where we're dropping our grapes into here in a minute. I don't guess we can go in and do anything. Let's see what we got here. Manage production point. Raisins. So what is this? All right. When I was looking at the production plant, the recipe grapes to raisins, obviously. Grape juice. Okay. Grapes just turn into raisin. What's selling for more, grapes or raisins? Wow. Holy cow, raisins even sell for a lot. Let's see what grapes sell for by themselves. I think it's like 900 and something. I should write this down. Sometimes I do that. Okay, so at my own place, if I just dropped grapes off there, which I should own. I need to make sure of that, but I should. If I sent them off, I'd make 1,000. But if I keep them and run them through my processing as itself, I make quite a bit more than that. So, all right, let's see. Let's see here. Because I could take raisins to the supermarket. I could make a lot of money off of raisins. It's about $500 difference. I could make quite a bit off of raisins if I chose to do like maybe one batch of grapes and raisins and then the other batch grape juice. Let's just see. Let's see what takes the most time and all of that good stuff first. Now that we have our place here. Let me make sure I now own this too. Yeah, okay. Making sure because I don't know, sometimes that's where I would pick up. Okay, cool. I'm just checking it out. Never seen exactly what this is. What in the world? It does look like there's a spot I could go in. Nope, maybe not. Yeah, cool. I definitely need to try to smooth this up real quick. Let me see if I can do this just while we're at it, because this stuff, it really kind of annoys me. Nobody's fault but my own. But I like for everything to be about as smooth as it can be. And it's not really going to do anything here, I don't think, because it's between the fence and the building itself. So I don't know that I can actually affect how this looks. Luckily, it's against the fence line, so it won't matter that much. But my hope is really just this right here is what I want to be able to kind of fix, because I do not like having a hump right here. And eventually, like I said, we're going to make these, we're going to make this nice. This nice vineyard, grape vineyard, which I think is just a vineyard anyway, right? Not necessarily grape vineyard, it's just a vineyard because it has grapes. Or is it considered a vineyard only if you're dealing with wine? I don't know, but regardless. Maybe that'll smooth this up. But see how this goes now that I've bought this entire plant. We'll harvest these grapes. That's the thing, is it takes a long time and you pretty much have to do it yourself because that machine is so tight going over these rows that if you don't have a perfectly straight row, which I believe I do, it doesn't work the way it should. But eventually is to spread this area and probably fence it off to make it like a true company, which I've got. I mean, it's not much, but this is what I consider to be the main gate. But as far as like getting semis and stuff in and out of here to haul to the supermarket, that part I'll probably have to figure out, maybe like on this back road back here eventually, as coming from this house. I mean, it's a tiny little road, but maybe I tie into here somewhere. I don't know. This may be like the tie-in. I maybe run a fence down here and make like a tie-in here where the road runs that way. But excuse me. Anyway, for now, I'm just gonna paint some. Just gonna paint some dirt. I really wish that you could. I wish that you could change this to where it didn't have to be perfectly square like this. I really wish, not necessarily that it's square, but I wish that I could turn the square to even it off, if that makes sense. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But anyway, all right, we got our plant. Let's see if this is a little smoother now. Yeah, that looks better. Good. Okay, cool. So now the reason we started this 15 minutes ago was to start harvesting our grapes. So that's what we're gonna do. We have all of the stuff that we need. Sun's finally starting to come up over the mountains, so we should be able to start immediately rocking and rolling with our production here. Here is the grape picker, and yeah, I look like Tony Hawk up here being a farmer, but the guy I had before, it looked like the guy from Red Dead Redemption. So tried to make it a little bit more personable, maybe. Right. This is a first. This should be interesting. Let's just see what happens if I try to hire somebody, or I click the wrong button. Interesting. But we're picking grapes. Well, I guess that's just what it does. Oh yeah, throwing out all the stems. I don't necessarily see the grapes. Oh yeah, I see them falling down in there now. Kind of neat when you go to undo this. Yeah, there they go. Kind of cool. It's kind of cool to be able to watch how it works. You know, it's picking them off of that, and then they're going up this little conveyor. Then they flip out to here, then they flip back here. That de-stems them. Stems go out the back, grapes go down in the holder. Interesting. No grapes on the vine anymore. It's pretty neat. This is also part of the reason I did this small amount of grapes that I did to start, is because, again, part of it, yes, is laziness of not wanting to always have to do everything. So not being able to hire anybody to do this, not the end of the world. But if I'm going to do this, I want to make sure that I can do it successfully and enjoyably. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. I want to make sure that I enjoy doing it. And anyway, doesn't matter. Before I go and make this entire, I don't know how many acres it is, area full of grapes, I want to make sure that it's something that I actually want to do. Again, I shortcut and just subsoil between the rows instead of doing right next to the vine on both sides, and it had like a 98% yield, so I'm cool with that. I'll be curious to see, based on that, let's see just how much we produce as far as revenue goes just in this little acreage that we've planted. Is it enough to actually be considered, hey, that's making some pretty good money, or is it, is it not? The other part of me is thinking about the way that I learned that you can essentially just spend money, like buying nothing, is you can buy these, put these everywhere, and then as soon as you delete them, they that's what I thought. As soon as you delete them, you don't get the money back. You may spend $10,000 on a strand of vines that's this long, and if you delete them, you will get no money back, which is understandable. It's a placeable that you're not selling, you're destroying. So if I wanted to get rid of that 999s up there, I could essentially make a ton of these and just demolish them. Takes a long time to demolish, is kind of the annoying part. So, because right now, again, money's not, and it's not an object. It's not something that matters in this game. Which I'll say was partially my fault, but then the other part of it was I wanted to see what would work, what's fun, what you could do. And you can't do that when you don't have money on the game. Look at all those eggs over there. That'll be next. If we have time by the time we get to the end of this stream, which looking at time right now, we will not, based on how long it's taken to do just these 5 rows of grapes here. If we have time, we'll load up the pallets of eggs. We'll load up the pallets of honey, haul all of that. The last 2 loads that I've taken at minimum 8. I'll say it was 8 pallets of honey and 2 pallets. 2 pallets. I think they were both full. 2 pallets of eggs, and I made like 7,000. And then the next time, I think I took 10 pallets of honey and 4 pallets of eggs, and I got like 12 grand. So it makes pretty good doing that. But if everything goes good with grapes, and if everything goes good continuing with that, I'll get to where I diminish all this money to where it's actually more realistic, and then see how fun everything is from there. I should have done, they made the government subsidy kind of a mod deal, which is how I ended up with this much. But I should have done the smaller one because they made two different ones. I should have done the smaller one, but I was like, this is going to take forever. And then I put out like a ton of the government subsidies, the really big one that makes millions of dollars a day. Like it was making $200 million a day, I think. May have been a little overkill. I had a feeling that was about to happen. But this is a very slow and tedious process, so that's the only thing that makes me sometimes wonder, like if I want to do this whole field in grapes, because that's going to take a while. At least doing by myself. We can ever get better internet out here where I can stream and have guys join. That may be a little different. That may be where I'm like, all right, anybody want to join in on this server and let's have a grape vineyard. I just realized this thing was about to fill up. It's still dropping them in there. All right, so let's see. I do believe I have to have a tractor. This, by the way, here's the spreader fertilizer I was talking about. And you have this thing right here. And you have got, it will spread over everything. You see I've got it set down to 36 meters. So I've got it one lower than the furthest width that it can spread, and it spreads those 5 rows easily. That's what I was saying. You can probably get away with doing, 6 or 7 rows of grapes with that spreader in between. And then it'll cover everything. That cut a lot of time out. I mean, I completely got rid of that other sprayer because of it. I also learned when I was watching a video, this guy, when he filled up his little picker like this, he had the small trailer like this. Dude, it filled up immediately. Which we'll see how much 100% fills up that trailer as well here in a minute. It doesn't look too bad. It's like maybe it'll be like a third, maybe a quarter full. Let's see what it says. Yeah, quarter full. Nailed it. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a partial 7th. And it almost does a quarter. I don't know if that's good or not. We'll see. I know I'd hate to live in these houses, though, if you did have this equipment running back there all the time. That's also the reason I turned seasons off, because with seasons on, obviously in December, you're not picking grapes. I say obviously. You may be. I don't know. I don't know when grape season is. If I was a guessing man, though, I'd say it's probably not in December. Trying to keep these streams close to an hour. Both with baseball takes a little bit longer. Usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes longer. With these, I can try to, pretty much keep it to 20. I'm at 20. I can pretty much keep it to an hour, because at an hour I can turn it off and then just either pick up where I left off, or do a lot of the stuff that I was going to do offline and then come back on whenever I want to stream something. That's the fun part. Like, baseball is fun playing. I enjoy it. But eventually you kind of, it's the same thing. With this, there's so many different things you can do. from teaching somebody how to do something on the game, from doing grapes like this. We were prepping for cotton and planting cotton last time. At the end of this episode, or what could turn out to be a third episode, we're going to work with honey and eggs, loading those up, which I kind of want to put at the end of this one, or it could be its own standalone, really short episode, because it's not going to take very long to do that. My loading skills are not great, but it's still not going to take very long to do that. So that's why I'm hoping I can knock this out pretty quickly. We're almost 26:15 in right now, so we're almost half an hour. We're almost halfway there. And a lot of this has been talking and getting that little plant put over there. So I am curious, though. I am wondering, should I do grape juice first, considering how much it produces, or should I do raisins? I feel like raisins is going to take a lot longer, but I feel like when you make grape juice, you should have raisins out of it, which I guess raisins are technically dried grapes. They're not like squeezed grapes, so I feel like you could also make a raisin out of a squeezed grape that you then dried, like a different thing. And that's probably a real thing, and somebody's probably going to do, you're an idiot. That's already a thing. Oh well. I get why this thing has to go slow, but I tell you what, chug-a-lug-a-lug 5 miles an hour sure does take a while. On the second set, 4 sets to go. I would say I've only been picking for 10 to 12 minutes, maybe 15 at most. Yeah, I'd say about 12 minutes. That takes a little while. We're halfway there. If it produces enough money, it's really worth it. Again, when you don't, put in a mod that gives you a ton of money, it doesn't matter when you have that. But it's also about learning. If this is something that'll produce enough and you can start from scratch and make yourself like a small vineyard, maybe even smaller than this, but it's enough and it's worth doing, and you make enough to actually use it as essentially a means of income, I guess, on the game. I don't know, then maybe it helps somebody to see that that's something they want to do. I've learned that I move this microphone around all the time when I do this, just because I'm never comfortable with it. I look and I'm like, oh, well, the stand's in front of my face, can't see my face. But then again, you don't want to see my face. You want to see what's on the screen anyway, so I don't think you'd probably care too much. I am about to swap it, though, because I just realized that my face is over the speedometer and the gas and all that, which is not the end of the world. But I think if there's anything that, like, you don't want to see, it's probably more the map than anything, I would think. Right? I'd say it's probably that. There we go. So we'll just swap it around like that. I don't know how that transition looked. There may not have been a transition at all. It may have just been a real quick click of me swapping over. It's supposed to be transition, but that doesn't mean anything. Oop. Look in what direction we were going too much. All right. Come on. There we go. Maybe I can get all the way back down this next row without being full. I doubt it, because that's pretty close right there. think this has nothing to do with grapes, but I'm thinking back to like the times that I've kept cows, the times that I've kept horses, and I'm mainly thinking about cows right now because, you know, making mixed ration has been one of the toughest things in the game to me. Like having to get an actual mixer trailer and getting the percentages perfect to where you don't have too much hay or too much straw or too much mineral, but trying to get the amount and the number perfect sometimes to me has been a little frustrating. I almost made it down that road. That's good. But that's just me. Somebody else, you know, again, you're probably like, yeah, it's not hard at all. You just got to work with it. You're probably right. All right, so this should get us 50%. That's 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, almost 14 full rows will get us half of a tank full here. Half of a trailer full. Let's see if that still unloads with me out of it. Oop. If I'd turn it where it would actually keep the tractor running, it probably would. So what did I say? 13 full rows? We got 10, 11, 12, 13, almost 14 full rows is going to fill up half the trailer. Right. All right, 51%. That's almost 14 rows. We got 5, 10. I know there's 14 rows right there alone. So we just are going to run out. Our trailer's just going to end up being full whenever we get like to the last row or last 2 rows. Come on. There we go. I've never actually witnessed how you do grapes in person, so I don't know how accurate this is. I would imagine it's fairly accurate, though, because most everything they do on this game is not perfect, but it seems to be pretty close. I've gone to a plantation where they do like see like it's shaking the vine as it goes through, where they do tea leaves, and that's interesting. It's a machine that is not necessarily just like this, but it's a high riding machine like that too. It goes and it cuts the top of the tea leaves off of the bush, and it's like a what's that place called? It's Charleston Tea Plantation, something like that up near Charleston. But it's a cool place if you ever get the opportunity to go visit it. Definitely do it if you're in that area. Me and my wife went. I think that was something we did when we were on our honeymoon, and it was cool, but we were definitely the youngest couple there by far. And I'm not meaning that in a mean way, but when I say by far, the next youngest couple was probably '60s, maybe mid '60s at best. Things are going well so far. I'm curious too, and this will be another learning thing, but it'll also be a deciding factor, is how long does it take to do raisins as opposed to making grape juice? Like, is grape juice something that is not necessarily instantaneous, but is it something that's a lot faster Does grape juice produce in like 3 months, and does raisins produce in 6 months? Because that would make sense to me. You know, dried grapes to me should take longer, but that could also be a deciding factor. Like in the future, all right, what would I rather harvest? Would I rather harvest it for grape juice, or would I rather harvest it for raisins? And then, because if raisins take 6 months to dry, and I only make $200 more off of raisins, but with no seasons turned on or seasons turned off, grape juice only taking 3 months. I mean, it's a no-brainer to go grape juice, because I could turn around and essentially double what I would make for raisins in that time, which it takes like 4 months for grapes to grow. So I really don't know. I think it's just a preference of what you would rather harvest and what you would rather sell. In this case, we may try both. I'm not sure yet. I think first we're going to start with grape juice and just see what happens. Time it out, see the expenses, see what we make off of it. Really, the expenses side of it, I'm not going to look at, because in this case, the expenses side of it's going to be fuel, because everything's already been bought. So I'll only look at the back side. What I may do here is I come back down this row. I may go empty this out. That way these last 9 rows I can just I can roll on. It seems like I can do 9 rows without having to stop. I don't know, actually. I don't think that's true. I know one thing. I would be mad if I got so stuck on one of these posts that I had to reset this and then go get it from a shop. That would frustrate me. Especially because there's certain things that when you reset them, they everything that's in them or what have you, all of a sudden either turns to pallets or it disappears. That would be the part that would really frustrate me, if it disappeared. Getting pretty full here. All right, let's see if we can finish this thing off now. Ah, come on. I should know better, though. It's not like I'm actually going on it. Let's see what we got here. All right, so one row right there was 10%. We got 9 to do. I think we should be able to do all of them. Well, I don't know. Those other ones are a little longer. Started about the same spot, but those other ones run a little bit longer. And that one was 11%, so it's going to be close. It's going to be close. It'd be nice to be able to do these last ones without having to empty. But the good thing is, again, the plant is right there. So I'm going to, I literally pull down there by the plant. And whenever I empty into this trailer and that trailer's at 100%, I'll just dump it into the trailer right there and then dump it right into it directly. Oh, or I could get one of the, I haven't done this at all. I could use one of the belt systems. I don't ever do that. It's an excuse to get it. And it spends money that, again, I don't need that much in here. It's kind of like I'm not necessarily going to date myself, but I am going to expose myself to something. Like, I loved years ago, a good friend of mine, we got into playing Minecraft real heavy, like in high school. And I love playing in creative mode because you can just do whatever. And I like building stuff more than anything. But it makes it like this. It's like when you have all the money in the world, it can make the game boring because it's like, okay, what are you playing for? But for me, it was like, no, I get to build unlimited. I don't have to stop. I don't have to do this to be able to get this or what have you. I can just go. And kind of similarly the same on here, having all the money, you can just go and do whatever. You're not limited to anything. Whereas in, if you didn't, if I only had $100,000, you know, obviously I'm doing all of my own farming then, but I don't have all this. All this that's around this farm is not here. These big tractors that I have to do things quicker and easily, they're not there. And yeah, it's part of, well, you got to build up to that, but some of that takes patience, and sometimes I just don't have patience. All right, so we're not going to make it because we're at 48%, 47%, and that was 4 rows, and I've got 5 to go through now, and they're a little longer, all of them. The shortest one is longer than the longest one we just came off of by about 1 or 2 vines, so we won't empty completely, but we'll come close. Maybe we'll be on that last line. It would be kind of funny if I created a belt system. I've seen where some people do this, where they create a belt system that goes all the way out into their field. And so I'm on this end, I'm full. I just back up and dump it onto the conveyor belt, and it shoots it all the way around to the factory there, or the plant. I do that all the way up there, all the way to that end. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but that would be funny. Problem is, I think if you buy those, you still sell them and you still make money. I say it's a problem. It's not a problem. But I'll probably get to where I like everything how it is, and I'll find a way to get rid of this money. And once I get rid of it, then it'll be kind of back to a more realistic basis, but we're getting close. We might have enough time to load. Maybe. We might have enough time to load honey and eggs up. We got about 15 minutes left. And we're coming to the short rows on our grape picking. And every time I think I'm rolling good, all of a sudden I get stuck on it. One thing I have not learned, and I tried getting it down in 17, was getting like tractors and I can't even think of the name of what it was called. Getting other like tractors, like hiring somebody to follow you, or even, you know, hey, go to this field. I've tried that before on this, as far as like trying to get something to leave the shop and hiring somebody to drive from the shop, like the actual buy stuff store, I should say. Let me put it that way, because I call the area where I have tractors and everything the shop too. But the store, trying to get everybody to leave the store and drive to a field or to the shop, and it doesn't work. But in 17, I got it to where they could at least follow, and that was helpful. Dang. That was helpful, but I can't get it to do any of that now. And that's super annoying. What are the odds I can fit this gap? Tight. Oh yeah, nailed it. Nailed it. Come on. It's not going to empty this thing all the way out. I'd be surprised. Boom. I can't believe it emptied it out. I mean, this thing's got to be close to 100% if it's not. Yeah, that ain't where I wanted to go. 95%. All right. What are the odds? What do we have? 2 rows left? Or do we just have 1 row left? Well, why didn't it pick that grape on the end right there? Y'all see that? Look at that. What's up with that? I haven't noticed it leaving a bunch behind. All right, let's keep with the program here. What are the odds that 5% comes off of 1 row? I'm going back to get this 1. There it is. It won't get it. Huh. I wonder if there's like a little dip in the ground right there that just won't let it get it. That's strange. All right, last row. Here we go. I'm going to say that it's going to be 10%. I don't even know if it'll be 10% on this line, but that's got to be less than 5% on or in that trailer. Surely. It's going to be close. It might be 11%. Could be 12. Will it be 13? Yep, 13. How about that? Oh. All right. There we go. So we essentially, if I'm telling you though, if I've got this, if I nailed this perfectly to where this trailer, I really hope it'll take 5%. If I got it to where this entire area is a perfect 1 trailer load, it's going to be awesome. Look at that. Look at that. It's beautiful. Beautiful. That I'm pleased. All right, let's see. Let's park this, then let's go take our trailer to the little shop there. The plant. I'm going to call it a plant. Partially because I don't remember what it was called when we put it there, but anyways. All right, how does this thing dump? Surely it dumps out of the back. What's this thing doing? I didn't open the cover back up. Oh boy, we got to smooth the ground out there because that ain't gonna work. I want this to be more realistic. It's telling me I can just dump it right there, but I want it to be like, no, I got to go to it. Okay, it's not gonna let me be realistic. Start overloading. Here we go. I wish like that conveyor belt would be running and everything. That would be cool to me. All right. Now, here we go. Look at that. That only gave us right at 12,000 liters of grapes. Now, grape juice, it takes 5 grape bundles to make 4 things of grape juice. So for every 5, we get 4. So that's that's gonna be pretty close. Taking one away every 5, 1 in 5. I don't know exactly what that number is, to be honest with you, but that should still be a lot of grape juice cycles month. So you get 12,096 a month. You get a lot of raisins, and one grape is a raisin. What do you guys think? Let's try for raisins. Let's try for raisins. Okay? We're going to try for raisins, and let's just see what happens. Okay? The plant's running. We're going for raisins. We're going to see what we can make off of raisins. Again, we're right at 12,000. It's December. I think we're running 1 day months, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, 1 day months. Seasonal growth is off. So let's see what we get for 12,000. Again, I'm rounding up, but I'm just going to say for 12,000 grapes, 12,000 liters. See just how much raisin we get, and then we'll just sell it and see how much that makes. And then we'll try the grape juice thing. I was thinking when it was saying like months and cycle like that, I was thinking it was talking about time, but it looks like in that month, that's how much it'll cycle through, like how much it'll produce. And if it produces, what I saw there was producing a rather heavy amount of, yeah, I don't like this dip right here. It looked to me, if that's producing 6480 raisins and it's one, essentially, I'm assuming that's like a vine of raisin or a vine of grapes to make raisins. That's a 1-to-1 ratio. And if it's making 6480 a month, or maybe that's 6480 liters a month is what it can produce, then that means in 2 months I will have produced everything, the same amount of raisins, and then I can go sell that. Whereas this is only producing, even though it's like a 1 to 5 deal there, it is it's only producing 1,200. So that would take a year to produce all of the grapes that we've already put into it. It would take almost a year for it to produce all of the grape juice from all of our grapes. So we're going to try raisins to start. And let's just see, because again, the timing wise to me seems like this is going to be much faster, and price wise, raisins is $22,240. Grape juice is $26. So now it's about $400 difference. At the lowest, it's 27,000. At the highest, this is grape juice is 2,700. The highest is 3,200. This on the low end is 22. On the high is 29. And right now, let's see, it trended down. It's up. December, it's so-so. January, it goes up on grape juice. February, it's its highest, or is that the lowest point? No, the highest point is January on grape juice. The highest point for raisins is September. We're still going to be at a pretty high spot. December is pretty low, but January is a high spot for it. So we're going to push for it. It's going to take right at 2 months for all of it, but we'll just wait. Maybe I change this. Nah, that doesn't seem fair, does it? Maybe I change it to 2 days. I don't think I can change it to 2 days. Yeah, let's do 2 days a month. Or should we do 3 to kind of give ourselves room? And then we can change it after that. Yeah, let's save it where we are there. So we accomplished what we came here to do. We got our raisins. We got our grapes. Got them all picked. We have to wait a day, because in a day, I'll go back to puberty there. But in a day, we'll come back and we'll have to do the pruning, and then we'll have to do subsoiling again, mulching, all of that fun stuff that you have to do with the grapes if you haven't seen or known already. But we'll have to come in and prune. And then after pruning, I don't think you have to mulch yet, but I think that'll be time for subsoiling. And then don't think we'll have to mulch yet. Then it'll be like fertilizer time. So in the meantime, let's go and load up our, we might have enough time. I mean, I'm going to be pushing it. It depends on how many, considering that there's 5 pallets of eggs over there, I'm really going to be pushing it, because generally if there's 5 pallets of eggs working right here, that means there's probably going to be like 20 pallets of honey. And after I finish this episode, I'm going to look and see if I can figure out why or how exactly. There we go. I'm going to figure out why or how exactly I can get that pallet situation to work, because for the eggs, it's not so bad. At least the eggs, it kind of spreads out and it doesn't look too bad, you know. But for the honey, it's pretty frustrating when you're wanting to, like, pick up a load and you just don't know how much is there. That's probably the biggest part of it. I don't know if there's, and I'm about to just take off driving around. I don't know if there's 10 pallets there, 12 pallets there, 1 pallet there. I don't know exactly how many there are there. And as I said before, do not judge my, don't judge my stacking skills, because I'm not trying to be a professional here. I'm just trying to get it loaded on and out of the way. So no, I don't do things professionally. My stacking job here, I just put it on the trailer. If it was up to me, I would get an auto load trailer for pallets, but I don't have that. I do have an auto load trailer for hay bales, and I enjoy that. How many pallets of honey will there be? Any guesses? We got 2 minutes left. We're definitely not going to end up finishing loading this. Actually, I may run over an hour on this one just to see how many pallets we end up. I mean, it's, again, the first time I did this, I kept looking at it and I kept going, why am I not getting any more honey than what is right here? I didn't realize that you have to move the honey that you already have to see how much more honey is being produced. And first time I did that, I had 8 pallets. So who knows? I may end up with another 8 pallets. But I got a feeling it's going to be more than that. Just considering what it was last time. All right, we're easily up to 4. I would be impressed if I could get all of this loaded. There's no chance. There's only a minute left on my timer anyway. But again, we're gonna push past an hour here. Hopefully you guys will stick around till the end. If you don't, you'll just miss out on the awful pallet stacking job that I'm about to do. Because right now it's looking okay. Got the first round going on, and we're looking solid. Like, it's not going anywhere, but that can be short-lived. All right, we're up to 4. I would put us at minimum halfway done. Oh, Nelly. Last time I did that too, it made the tractor flip and knocked the honey out, and it was underneath that little crossbar of the fence, and I couldn't get it out. Go, we're getting it, we're getting it, we're getting it. I should start, or I should put a honey plant too, and just like monopolize everything to where all the businesses that are thriving are the ones that I've created. because it's what I'm dealing with. All right, this is where the pallet stacking gets a little hectic. No! It's going so well. All right, y'all stay put now. Like I said, things will eventually take a turn, and that would be what I would say is the turning point there, to where nothing gets stacked perfectly after that. I wish I could use the actual like in-tractor view of this, but it's so obstructed that you don't really know like if you're sitting down on it or not. I don't know. I don't have the perfect height to know if I'm far enough forward or not on here. That's the first pallet I've ever done while looking through the tractor here. But this is the hard part to me, is trying to make sure I have forks down enough on it. I cannot believe this. This is the first time I've ever done it in the tractor. I'm impressed with myself. Not bragging or anything, but listen, this usually doesn't go this well. And I've done this before in real life, so maybe that's the only reason that it is. Because it feels familiar. Oh yeah, we're on a roll now. Good night. What do we have? 8 pallets loaded so far? Going for number 9. That's where it gets a little bit tougher because this trailer having that little fender well where the tires are. Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep doing it inside the tractor like this because, like I said, I was kind of surprised with how well I did there for a second. Oop. Hopefully it doesn't spawn another one real quick. And it did. It's number 10. There's number 11, 12 easily already. Dadgummit. See, we were doing so good. I don't know that I'm going to be able to put eggs on with this load. I like to be able to take one load because just save trips. I don't want to have to take another trip. All right, let's see if I can stop the other spawn real quick. Nope, didn't stop it. About to do something that I know I probably shouldn't do, but I'm doing it anyway. The only reason I can do that is because I have that massive weight on the back of this tractor. First time I ever tried to load anything with this tractor, I didn't have that weight back there, and that's how I learned very quickly that I needed that weight back there. No, back up. There you go. Sit down, pallet. There we go. And they just keep coming. Jeez. This is the problem when you don't take the time to do this. Maybe this thing won't spawn underneath me. I knew that was about to happen. Dang it. I knew it was going to happen. As soon as I was stacking it. Okay, well, we finally got to the end there. I'm going to stack this higher because I do want to try to get those eggs on the back so I can take all of it in one load. Not necessarily the smartest thing to stack this higher, but you know, I'm gonna strap it down and I'm gonna slap it 3 times and say that's not going anywhere, and then we're gonna be good to go. Let's just see if I can somehow. Let's just see what I can work here. Booyah! I wonder what would happen if I take this pallet of honey. Maybe I won't try to spawn another one. Try to leave it somewhat in the box so it'll keep loading onto it. There we go. Ta-da. Alright, we're almost, maybe we can get this done at least in 10 minutes because the eggs will be a lot easier. I can stack them on top of each other and just slap them on the back of the trailer. They're not going to keep spawning. It's a lot of honey though. 2, 4, 6, 8. Wait. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 pallets. That's the most pallets of eggs I've had for sure. And it's starting to get dark. I mean eggs of honey. This is the most pallets of eggs too. Most pallets I've taken at a time was 4. And I did the exact same thing I'm about to do right now. I may take that partial. Oh no, this is only 4. This would be equivalent to what I've done before. Heckgummit. Let's see here. Actually, I may just do these 2 loads just so it'll be somewhat even. No, I'm not. I'm gonna take all of it. I'm gonna sit this down. I'm gonna stack these other 2 on top of each other, and I'm gonna put this partial one to the top of all of that. That's what we're gonna do. What is the issue here, Alec? This is when I somewhat slightly start to get aggravated with how this works. So much so that I'm not going to wait to stack this on top of those. Just going to stick it on top of this one. Hopefully straight enough that I can put the other one up here without an issue. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Like I said, things can get kind of crazy out here with these pallet stacking. I may just have to find myself an auto load trailer for pallets. Man, that would be awesome. That part is though, then I'd have to get rid of my little tractor that I keep back here just for this. And I like my little tractor that I keep back here just for this. Love how it doesn't even, it actually didn't go through it. It went under it, but then it said it went through it, so it's cool with me. This is about to be a serious load right here. Good thing is I know where I'm going when it comes to going to the supermarket, so I'll get that over really quickly. get you guys out of here that have stuck around to watch this absolute terrifying way of loading pallets. Let's go take it really quickly. Yeah, we're going to be past the 110 mark, but that's okay. All right, we got it all strapped down. Let's get it out of here. Nice heavy load. It's a lot of honey. We got 5,600 liters of honey and over 6,600 eggs. Oh, that's that partial pallet of eggs. I was like, why does it say 94%? Waiting on 6% to come and load up, fill that last pallet all the way up. Also, I have turned traffic off because the most annoying thing to me, I like the realisticness of the traffic, and it's not really that realistic. If you played this game enough, you know that. But I can't stand when I'm trying to drive down the road and all of a sudden somebody comes just screaming up to me and I ram right into them. Or I just hit a parked pole, you know. It's just as annoying. But their driving is not very good, so I just turned traffic off because it was extremely annoying. See how much we end up with here. It's taking its time on the eggs, isn't it? Oh, there we go. 26 grand. That's pretty good. That's not bad. I mean, that's 360 chickens that are in, and I think there's like 5 or 10 roosters that I just put in there just for looks. But making over $26,000 on 3 of the large honey deals there. Beehives, my goodness, I couldn't think of what it was. But I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna look. We're gonna take a quick look before we hop out. I'm gonna look and see what the price of those 3 honey stacks, 3 beehives, 4. Okay, I got a little bit more than I thought I did. I'm gonna look and see what the price of that is in comparison. I mean, that the sun just keeps like flashing over here. But I'm gonna look and see what the price is in comparison. Like, is it worth what we made off of it? Uh-oh. Here we go. All right, let's do that real quick. So, as an animal dealer, maybe we actually need to go here. So for chickens, let's do what I was doing. All right, for the chicken coop, I probably bought, and it's also probably because I bought all of these chickens at 6 months already, so they would immediately do like this. Let's see, they're 15 months. Okay, I didn't buy these, and this is, how many is this? Let's go the other way. It'll be a lot quicker. So I have 55 that I bought at $5. Okay. These, which is 10, I bought at $50, so that was only $500. This is where the big number is going to be. Yeah, 60 that I bought at $50 as well. That made that cost a little bit more than the roosters. Again, they didn't cost that much. They were $5, but now they're worth, I think I only have 5, yeah. So $20, 5. So let's just say, if I look through here, it's probably actually a better thing. New livestock. I'd have to go back. I don't know how to go back. It won't let me go back. I can't. But if I had to look back, I would say $26,000. Let's look at just beehives alone. How about that? That would be a somewhat, maybe that would be a somewhat more realistic figure. 19,000 by 4. So, you know, I spent over almost $80,000 on just the beehives alone. And that was one of 3 trips that I've made. 26,000, 17,000, and then like 10,000. So there's definitely not 360 chickens standing out there, are there? Anyway, so I don't know, close to $50,000 made, and spent about 80,000 just on that. You know, spent a good bit on the chickens too, but and then the coop and everything. So I would say it'll eventually probably even itself out as far as getting the actual amount back. Maybe. I don't know as far as timing goes, as far as like, oh yeah, it takes a couple of years, because I've had the chickens for a while and I've had the bees for a while. I at first started with just 2 of those big stacks, some smaller ones, and then I was like, why am I doing this? So then I got rid of the smaller ones and just did 4 big ones, and now it produces like crazy, and it produces extremely quickly. So you know, that is what it is too. But I've spent enough of y'all's time. We are about 17, it's about 17 minutes past where I usually would cut this thing off. So let me go ahead and jump it out of here, and we'll come back with it next time. We'll figure out what we're going to do next time. Just check out the description there. Again, if you guys like and enjoy it, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so that way you get the notification the next time that we put an episode up. Until next time.